how did this happen? And what was going through your mind? What is it that you didn't find in your business that you're looking for? So, how did your family take this decision, your wife, your parents, upon the fact that what actually happens in Isha? What I don't know about other spiritual organizations, to be very, very honest, I have not been part of any spiritual organization before this, and I don't wish to be as well. I think I found my place forever. Namaskaram, Anna.
Namaskaram.
Welcome back to Be Beyond Blissful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for coming back. It
my
really
pleasure.
means a lot.
It's my absolute pleasure. I'm so glad to be here.
So many questions, Anna. I think not just me, but everyone who watched the last conversation, they all have too many questions. And I read the comments on the social media as well as on YouTube. Everybody wanted to say a lot of things. They said, why didn't you have him for longer? So thank you so much for coming back. Anam, so last time we were talking about your journey. You quit IIT and you started your own yoga studio. So totally different side of life, which is obviously your calling, and you're doing it very well. Now, after running your business, your own yoga studio for almost a decade, more than a decade, you've quit that and you're a full-time volunteer at Isha, so you're an Ishanga.
I had the opportunity to do the Hatha Yoga teacher training. I was already a volunteer. That's where my journey with Isha kind of revived itself. Even though I did the program a while ago, it was only when I started volunteering and had that first experience of actually transforming, being a small part of transforming someone's life, touched me very deeply, and I wanted to pursue that in a bigger way. And doing the Hatha Yoga teacher training was partly because I was very curious about Hatha Yoga, but also because I wanted to enhance myself as a volunteer and do something beyond what I could do just on the sidelines as a volunteer, doing something more. So that's the reason why I did the teacher training. But somehow the teacher training empowers you in such a huge way that you really feel superhuman. Doing so much of Hatha Yoga for 6 months, it's a big boost to your health. You feel like at the peak of your health, and it's also a big boost to your ego in some way, because you feel like you can achieve anything and do anything. And coming out of the training, and I guess at that time Isha was still not so big in Sydney. In Australia,
What year are we talking?
2013. Yeah, so this was Sadhguru had come here, but there weren't too many like Hatha Yoga programs happening. For example, inner engineering was happening once every few months. And for me, that longing was there to teach as often as possible and to as many people as possible. So that's where I kind of felt the need to become an entrepreneur and start a brand and teach independently. But yeah, that became like a double-edged sword, because after a point it becomes a lot about yourself as well. Although this is a path where there is in many ways no individual identity. When you're teaching something like Isha Hatha Yoga, in some way we're just transmitting it, right? It's not something that we came up with the practices. We don't really know how it works and all that, right? So in some way we're just transmitting it, but still, because of a sense of, I guess, ownership about your community or students or attachment to your brand and things like that, it becomes a little bit personal after some time, a little individual. And that was something that I always kind of struggled with, because at the same time I was also teaching for Isha Foundation on and off, and usually those programs were completely managed by volunteers, so I would just have to go and teach, not get too involved with the organizing aspects. um, but when I did these programs, I always felt something more powerful in an experiential way, and I could not explain it. And for many years there was also that struggle or tension between my programs and Isha's programs, because they were happening close to my studio. And somewhere, this thought used to come in my mind, like, oh, I'm losing students to Isha, or things like that, which is very silly now when I look back at it. But yeah, there was that tension at all the time. However, I knew that, in the bigger picture, all that really doesn't matter, where students learn and which person they go to learn from. But the biggest experience for me was, I guess, discovering that just by myself, I'm not going to be able to reach as many people as I could reach as being a part of Isha. So that was a big discovery for me. And as Isha was also expanding in a big way in Australia and worldwide, they also needed someone, to take that step and be a part of Isha full time and dedicated to Hatha Yoga. So there was always that pull for me to be a part of it. But at the same time, I had been building this brand over so many years, so I couldn't leave it. And many teachers, many other Hatha Yoga teachers came, worked with me, and left, moved on for different reasons. But somehow I could never find that one person or that team to sort of keep it going. And this is, it might sound like a small thing, but when it happens year after year after year for so many years, it can become quite heartbreaking, frustrating. And I guess somewhere I felt that it was even changing me as a person, in the way that I
That you are not able to commit to the work?
no,
Or
in the way that I reacted to some of these teachers that worked with me, because I was not able to see them as just beings on a certain journey, but somehow seeing them as a way to support me in my longing to become a part of Isha. And I
so
guess
you wanted them to look after your work, or run classes
yes,
for
yes,
your brand or for your studio, while you wanted to
to
volunteer.
teach and volunteer for Isha.
Mm.
So of course this was like towards the end. I'm talking about the last 1 year or so, but over time it just became a bit uncomfortable, that relationship with these teachers, which is essentially, for me, I saw it as a way to enhance them, empower them. But I guess not everyone sees things the same way. And they also felt that, um, maybe sometimes they felt that they were being, or what was being expected of them was much beyond what they were ready to offer at the time. So generally, I mean, after a teacher training program like this, most of us are interested in teaching, obviously, and doing our sadhana. But there are so many other aspects to running a business of teaching yoga, like the admin and the marketing and so many things, and that requires a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of openness, creativity, curiosity. And I think a lot of people are not ready to dedicate that kind of time and interest.
Yes, I think running business over here in Australia is very different to running business back home in India.
Yes.
Back home, I said, but yeah,
Mm.
it's always first home. So that's the thing, Anna. Over here, what people probably don't realize, who are in India, that this over here, I just want a little bit touch base that a lot of people who are in India, they think, oh, you're running a business in Australia or say some other country outside of India, and you're earning in dollars, and it's really good. It's all looks very fancy at times, but what they don't understand is that there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Over here, you literally have to solely look after everything when you're starting from the scratch.
Mm.
In India, logistically, things are very different.
Mm.
You know, over here, from your greeting, like you have to be the receptionist. I would assume you were the you were the person, sole person, who were greeting
Yes.
the participants from their enrollments and fee structure and everything, to the maintenance of the center and whatnot,
Yeah.
the marketing and everything, the social media part of it.
Mm.
You do it all by yourself, and
Mm.
being a small business, you cannot afford, especially in this country, that you can hire a team. Like
Mm. Mm.
even years after running a good business, it takes courage, and you do see that hiring another person is a big liability, because the
Mm.
way it's set up over here.
Mm. Mm. True. And for me, I never found that like something scary or something intimidating, because, as I said, after the teach training, you really feel superhuman. And I approached all of this with a lot of enthusiasm, and it became easy after a point. I was really good at it, and it became easy, and the studio was running really well. Um, but still, that something was not there within me, because for me, that being an offering to Sadhguru is something very important, and I guess that's in some way my essence of my life. So that fulfillment was not coming somehow through this.
So over
But at the
here,
same time, I felt that for other teachers, especially for new teachers who graduated, it was a tremendous possibility for them to make use of the platform that has already been built, to enhance themselves as teachers, and maybe do things which they otherwise would not have been able to do on their own. So that was the effort, really, to bring a few teachers together and keep things going. And yeah, for whatever reason, it didn't happen, and that brought a lot of pain to me that it did not happen um, earlier this year. But looking back now, I can see that it was actually a blessing, because somehow it had to happen the way it had to happen, so that I could move on and just put it behind me, and dedicate myself fully to Isha now, where I am doing things on a much, much, much bigger scale than I could have done alone. And again, it's not an individual effort anymore. It's like dissolving. You're part of a team that is so diverse and across so many countries and time zones, and you're working with so many people that you might not have even seen in person, but things are happening, programs are happening, and various other things are happening in the background as well to support the programs and the foundation. So it's yeah, I'm really grateful to be where I am today.
so what was the name of the studio?
So the studio is called Yoga Sadhana.
Yoga
Yeah.
Sadhana.
We even had a YouTube channel.
Hmm.
We had some interesting videos we made there. Of course, many
The
students.
channel is still active.
The channel is still active. I haven't deleted it. Yeah, we had a lot of student testimonials. One fun video that we made was, I think, during COVID time, called "Are we COVID safe enough for you?" And that video we made just after I think the lockdowns were ending, and you know, businesses had to follow certain rules to bring people back in. So that was a funny video where I was, maybe we can share a link in this video.
Mm.
Where I was playing like a hand sanitizing genie, like, you know, wherever the student needed hand sanitizer, I would just appear with a bottle of hand
Right.
sanitizer. It was a funny video.
So, dropping your business or closing your business
Mm.
was there for a while in your mind, or it was just like on the drop of the hat, one fine day you woke up and you said, no, that's it?
So there were many other factors that played a role in that decision. One thing was I discovered I wouldn't be able to get other teachers to take it up in a
But you were very clear
committed
in
way.
your head that you want to volunteer at Isha for the programs.
Yes.
I'm just asking, so it's not so that all the viewers who are probably non-Isha followers, they can understand if they're watching as well, that if you are a Hatha Yoga teacher trained at Sadhguru Academy, you really don't have, you are not obliged to go and volunteer at Isha and teach at Isha programs.
Not at all. So the majority of the teachers that go through the training develop or set up their own independent brands.
But
and
you
teach.
had the calling, you wanted to be an
Yes,
offering, you
yes.
wanted to be
Yeah.
there at Isha programs, and
Yes, yes. Because for me, I think the longing kind of peaked in 2022. Which is about one year after COVID. I had, or 2 years after COVID, I had just become a father in 2021, and somehow I felt that at that point of my life, I had gone through this certain program. I had a very powerful experience, Isha Foundation program, and it just made sense to me that this was what I needed to do.
can I ask you which program, Anna?
That was a Surya Kriya program, which again I had done so many times,
Hmm.
hundreds of times, but that particular program was the first Isha Foundation program after COVID, so after a gap of something like 2 years. Something about that program and how I felt after that program was, I guess, the first time in this, whatever, close to 21 years journey with Isha that I had like a really tangible, mystical inner experience. And I was so grateful for it, and it just made sense to me that this was the path I needed to pursue. Also, yeah, being a father and husband, I wanted to see how I can spend a little more time with my family as well, because running a studio is like a 24/7 kind of commitment, if you want it to be successful. And yeah, I needed, at least now I have a lot more time between programs.
But you're
to
also
spend at
traveling
home.
quite a lot.
I
Just
am-
before this, you were telling me that you were in
Yes.
Singapore, then Malaysia, and then
Now in Melbourne, yeah. I am traveling quite a lot, but at the same time, I feel closer to my family now, in many ways, because within myself, I think I'm transforming at a much more accelerated pace. Hard to explain, but I think that's also bringing me closer to my family in a very powerful way. Yeah.
so how did your family take this decision? Your wife, your parents?
Yeah, so my wife, Lakshmi, has been a huge support in this journey since I decided to do the teacher training, and being in the corporate role she's been for a while now. In many ways, I was kind of dependent on her as well, and she's allowed me to go on this adventure of setting up a yoga studio and everything. And this next step for me was a way to bring a little more security and stability to the family situation. But I guess for others in the family, it is still a big unknown terrain, and it creates a lot of fear in people when someone in their family can, go and join a spiritual organization. I guess it brings a lot of concern and fear to people.
Anna, I feel that the world teaches us, or the way we are conditioned, the way we are brought up, especially in this era. Um, when you talk about, being very ambitious, like, in the economic world and in the real world, people actually applaud you, and, you are not scared to put things out or to, show your ambition. But somehow, when you are ambitious spiritually, it's very hard, number one, to explain it to people. There is always a big fear of judgment.
Yeah.
I've been through it all.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I a month ago I did posted audio podcast of mine. You can say a short that was purely out of my, my sheer love for Sadhguru, after watching what was happening in the news, and what happened at the ashram. Like, so many policemen just went because of some case that's been going on for years by someone who don't even know what Isha is all about. Because I say that because if they knew, they wouldn't do it. So I did put that out, and it took a lot of courage. In that audio also, I didn't put my face out, although it's not my first conversation. I can look at camera, I can talk at camera, but I don't know why, but I was not ready to be talking to the camera. I don't know why. Maybe I will be one day. I do want to as well. But, there's a lot of fear of judgment. So I totally understand. But at the same time, it's important that, things have to change now. Spiritual ambition is actually 10x the ambition of what anyone can have, like in terms of money or shopping or anything. Because in my experience, at times I just feel so, I don't know how to explain it words, but why is it not happening? Like, I don't know, I just want to have it all. Not have it all in terms of, but what do I want to have it all? But I want to have it all. Somebody asks me, okay, you want to go for shopping? No, I don't want to go and shop and have it all. It doesn't really matter how much money is sitting in my bank account, or how many shoes I have or clothes I have. That's not what I am longing for. There is some other longing which I myself don't have words to put into. But it's intense at times, and I just then at that point I just sit and just pray and do my sadhana that, whatever it is, please help me. Just help me go through it, and just prepare me for this have it all situation. Because I'm sure when I am ready, it'll come to me. It's just that I am not ready yet. So yeah, coming back to your point, that it's the fear of judgment is always there.
Yeah.
Always there. But I think, Anna, at this point in the conversation, I really want to touch upon the fact that what actually happens in Isha. What I don't know about other spiritual organizations, to be very, very honest. I have not been part of any spiritual organization before this, and I don't wish to be as well. I think I found my place forever. And my life is changed. I owe everything to Sadhguru, and I'm very honest, clear, and transparent about it. There is no questions. So if anyone around me, ever ask me or say to me, okay, I'm a Sikh, that, everything is there in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Yes, it's there. And I used to do part every day before. I have been doing since childhood. And I understood quite a bit as well. But the way I understood Bani now is nowhere near how I understood it 5 years ago. I don't know why. So now when I'm reading Bani, it's in me. Like, I know it's like it's a living experience for me.
And I mean, I've heard similar things from many students from many different faiths, Christian students, Muslim students, their relationship with their religion and their scriptures has become so much more profound after doing Isha practices.
And it's so Guru is a dimension. He's
Mm,
not a
mm,
person,
mm.
as Sadhguru says. So
Yeah,
I know that now, that Guru is a dimension.
yeah.
So what just happened in Isha a month or 2 months ago, 100 odd policemen.
Mm,
Such a shame. And
mm, mm.
why?
So this
You've
is
been in Isha before me. You've been closer to Sadhguru as well. Let's talk about it.
all largely politically motivated, and a lot of people have a lot of judgment out of ignorance about what Isha is doing and try to perform certain action, make some impact in a negative way. But I don't think they can really achieve anything big because what Sadhguru has to offer is so pure and absolute that even if someone finds out about Sadhguru through a negative news report, I think if they start watching his videos, they'll get hooked anyway. So yeah, it's like that. I think Sadhguru is not afraid of all these people, but um, yeah, they have some motivation. But anyway, let's not talk about them, or let's not talk about other organizations. But my own journey with Isha, I can talk about the many things that make Isha a very unique organization and beautiful organization for someone who's seeking the spiritual path. First thing is, of course, the tools, the practices, the way they are offered, the depth, the detail, and the commitment with which they are offered is something so special, which I have heard many other yoga teachers from other styles of yoga also come and say that, this is like the best in their own words. So that's one thing. Then there's the people, right? So the people that you meet in your journey with Isha, from volunteers to teachers to brahmacharis, um, they're just so inspiring because they have looked at something, beyond their own whatever material or superficial well-being, and dedicated so much of their time and energy to bring these tools and transformation to other people's lives. So it's very touching, and you can't miss it. You can't miss it. So that's another very special thing. The spaces, the ashram, the temples, the program halls, and even if you go to a program wherever in the world, Isha program, you'll see that the space has been created in such a way that it assists you with this inward journey, and that's a really big deal as well. And there are many things I can keep talking about it, but essentially I think for someone who is on the spiritual path, you need to be supported and inspired by the people you're working with and the people you meet. um, so that is something that Isha offers in a huge way. Of course, it is a very big organization, so it's not like perfect, right? There is no such thing as a perfect organization. So you will face situations where there's some little bit of struggles and drama here and there, but you can quickly overcome that if you really look within yourself and see what is needed for your growth. You can come out of those situations very quickly, and yeah. Yeah, there's many things you can keep talking about it because it's something that has developed and changed so much over the years. The way the organization probably started, I don't know, before the Anlinga consecration would have been very different from what it is today, and is what's in the ashram is very different from what's in Australia, for example. But everywhere it's the same spirit. Somehow it's about elevating your consciousness, and it's so open. It's so approachable to anyone right? There is no religious or national um, sort of quality to it. Whatever part of the world you come from, you can access these tools and it just works for you. And I guess in many ways that's also uh, saying a lot about the yogic science in how it is relevant as a solution to all of humanity without the need for any specific faith or belief system.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So anyone can do yoga, and come on, if you look at it these days, yoga is actually being, practiced as a science or as a tool for well-being.
Mm.
There is this big spiritual aspect to it which people don't understand, but Sadhguru, at the end of the day, he never ever preaches any particular religion. You go there, he is not asking you to pray to this god or that god or any rituals. In the end, it's just about learning some tools or some sadhana, yogic sadhana, which you can do it from your home.
Mm.
And you do it for 40 days and you know what it does to you, really. And in terms of when this happened or what actually happens in the ashram, I think when people go, and unless anyone has been there or done any advanced program, they will not know.
Mm.
They will not know what ashram is all about. I mean, I've been there and it's the most beautiful, the most profound experience of my life ever. I cannot wait to go back again. And it did change something, did shifted something within me. And it just happened before my daughter's major surgeries last year. I wouldn't have been able to go through that time as smoothly if I had not been to ashram prior to that. I just feel somehow, because I was so light within myself and so just happy and grounded within myself, that I, that phase that passed on very easily and smoothly as it could.
That's good. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, when they face whatever a spiritual organization is doing or talking about or watching Sadhguru's videos, the natural tendency is to be a little suspicious or cynical about it, which is also, I guess, a reflection of where the person is or how ready they are for that next step in their own spiritual journey. Because if you're looking for faults with everything in the world, and you're just not satisfied with your own life and you don't trust people, and you're in that kind of state, then anyway nothing is going to really work for you, right? So they're just going in circles. But if you have that little bit of openness, and as Sadhguru says, this the pain of ignorance and the longing to know something beyond, then it's always there. Yeah, it's always there in life in general as well. Life shows you ways, but if you're connected to a guru, I think it gives you access to that in a much more powerful way, quicker way also.
I also want to talk about, and I was just touching back on the business side, that, okay, we don't want to put this message out to everyone who's watching this, that everyone who's running a business have to go and pursue this, right?
Yeah.
There's a beauty of running a business. I think it can be a platform to grow yourself in a very beautiful way.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
right? So can you share your journey, your early years into your business, and how it did transform you until you decided that really you just want to be a full-time volunteer and an offering to Sadhguru? That's a very, very personal thing. Not everyone will have that. But let's just touch base on the early years of your business.
Yeah, so
And how the practices helped you, and how you've already mentioned that you felt like you can conquer the world with Hatha Yoga, but the logistic side of it in terms of the other aspects of the business.
So there are many options available after you do the teacher training. Of course, many teachers stay back in the ashram and become full-time volunteers straight away. Um, and many teachers travel and teach. So those who are a little more adventurous and maybe not restricted by family constraints and all that. I've seen with some teachers in India, they share a lot on social media, traveling around the country and teaching and visiting all, temples, Jyotirlingas and this and that. And it's a very like vibrant life that they are living, nomadic yogi kind of life. It's beautiful. Um, yeah. So for me, in that sense, because I had a family situation, I had to commit myself to a specific place, and then opening a studio was the next step. Initially, yes, there was a lot of fear about opening a studio, but it was a beautiful adventure when it started, and there were many incidents I can think about. Getting the Sannidhi was a very powerful day for me. And
Sanidhi is to just explain Sanidhi.
so Sannidhi is a form created by Sadhguru. It's like a stone which has energized mercury core, and it helps you to create a space that is conducive for meditation, sadhana, and so on. And that made a big difference to my experience as a teacher, to the experience of my students who are coming to the studio, and yeah, just opened up things in a big way. So that was one very memorable thing. But even apart from that, just the whole journey of developing a brand, creating a website, um, creating promotional material, and talking to people about it, all of this was very exciting.
How long
Yes.
did it take you to fill the classes?
So when I opened the studio, I had already been teaching for a couple of years at different venues. So I was kind of reasonably confident that it would work, but it exceeded my expectations. The actual response to the studio when I opened it exceeded my expectations. So that was a beautiful thing. And yeah, there have been some ups and downs. Of course, COVID was a major
But that came
shock.
later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a bit unexpected, but again, that taught me a lot of things about myself and about the business. And of course, we had support from the government to stay closed and not suffer a huge loss. So yeah, I think many highs and lows over the years. Yeah, it's been a great
And how many
journey.
classes per week?
So we used to do workshops, we used to do regular practice sessions. At one point of time, we offered a membership where people could come and practice like up to 9 times a week. And we, of course, the 21-day program, that was and is my favorite program, which I started offering at Yoga Sadhana, and now I'm able to offer the same for Isha, which is very enjoyable. And this program allows you to learn all the practices over 21 days. And it when I started it, it was a big step. The first 21-day program, I still remember. Yeah, but every program since then, and I've probably taken more than 20-25 of these programs now. It's a huge learning experience, and you really develop a very deep connection with students in that program. So you're with them for 21 days, and yeah.
Let's talk about Hatha Yoga a bit, Anna. So, Hatha Yoga, how can that help oneself? I'll just touch base on why I'm asking this. So I know a very few close people who used to be, gym people or going to gym every day. Now that they are at a point that they've either, injured some part of their spine or something that they cannot go to gym, but they have these big bulky muscles. We are not very flexible. Now they are trying to, literally
Yeah.
go towards yoga very slowly. Earlier,
Yes.
I used to be the talk of the, group all the time, or you do yoga. I wasn't Isha practitioner back then, but I did yoga always. So now they are coming towards yoga. So a simple yoga that everyone should learn, like one practice, which is the one core practice you would tell everyone to learn and do it every single day.
Mm. So in the last video we spoke about Surya Kriya. So that would be the easiest to incorporate in daily life. But since I spoke about that in the last video, I wanted to talk about yogasanas this time, because for me, of all the Isha practices, yogasanas is my favorite one. And
I thought you would say Angmardana.
Angamartana is great for
very
strength and fitness.
powerful.
Yeah, if you're looking for that, if you're looking for movement, flexibility, and all that, Angamardana is the one. But Angamardana is still preparatory in nature. Yogasanas has so much
Oh, really? Angmardana is preparatory in nature for yogas.
Yeah, in the bigger picture of Hatha Yoga, Angamardana is seen as a preparation.
Okay.
So yogasanas is something that unfortunately a lot of people cannot sustain, because it takes a bit longer. It takes about 1 hour as a daily practice. And most people learn it because it is mandatory for Samyama.
And Samyama is the advanced program at Isha.
Yes, Samyama is an advanced program.
So you have to
at
prepare
Isha.
your body for that.
Yes. So there are many prerequisites for Samyama. So yogasanas is one of them, and I think a lot of people after Samyama, they don't really keep up the practice of yogasanas because they have more practices from the Samyama program and so on. But if you do keep it up, yogasanas as a practice is something that really evolves in such a powerful way, and it creates such a chemistry of, blissfulness within the system. I would say in many ways it is, at least in my experience, I can't say this officially, but in my experience it is as powerful as Shambhavi, in terms of how it makes you feel, and the ease and just the lightness that it brings to your body and spirit. Is something that people need to experience. I know it takes time, but when you do it, it makes you so much more fluid. Just like sitting in Ardha Siddhasana becomes such a blissful experience.
Yeah, you're still sitting. I've changed the position.
It happens. And you can just, forget your body. That's essentially what yogasanas helps you to do, is it helps you to really forget, that you even have a body, and you can just do whatever you want. And
So if somebody, as Sadhguru says, you should attend to these things early on in your life. Somebody has not, say they are listening to this and now they are inspired and they're already probably sitting on the fence thinking maybe I should try yoga. They are in their 60s. What is it that they should be doing? Surya Kriya, Surya Shakti, or can they pursue yogasanas?
Yes, so yogasanas is not difficult as such. I would say Angamartana is the only practice that is physically quite intense and challenging.
So yogasana is easier than Angamartana.
Relative to Angamartana, in terms of intensity, yes.
Okay. So Anna, one practice that people can do in their 60s or who have never done yoga now because they're in their 60s and they really want to try because of whatever, stiffness in their joints or anything, what is it that they can do?
So I feel yogasanas is good because it can be done by people with, most flexibility levels. Between the three core practices in Isha, Hatha Yoga, Angamartana, Surya Kriya and yogasanas, Angamartana is a little bit more physically challenging. Might not be great for elderly people, but Surya Kriya or Yogasanas are sort of intermediate in terms of difficulty level. Of course, there's Upa Yoga, which is available on Sadhguru app, and that is a more light practice. But between Surya Kriya and Yogasanas, Surya Kriya has a lot more movement, which some people might find difficult, whereas Yogasanas is individual postures which you're holding for a longer time, and you can do it to the extent that it is comfortable for you, even if you're not able to do it perfectly, and still gain a lot of benefit from it. And it's something that evolves over time, and it just becomes a much more deeper and powerful experience as you keep doing it. And it's very enjoyable when you get to do your full yogasana sequence. At the end of it, you feel like really light, like you're really floating through the day. It's a beautiful feeling.
Before we close, Anna, you must have spent a lot of time with Sadhguru in a intimate setting.
Not really, but I mean, I've seen him and spoken to him many times, but not for extended time. Maybe for
Have you?
30 seconds, 1 minute here and there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you would have, since you were initiated quite early on, and it used to be a smaller group as opposed to now you go, thousands of people are there, 10,000 people. So, how was it back then and how is it now in your experience?
I would say I've had many short interactions with him in person, but not like one extended time. If that happened, it's usually in a big group, like in the Hatha Yoga teacher training. But there are few moments I would remember from, let's say, the wholeness program that I first did in 2003, when we could sort of just go up to him and speak to him in the breaks and so on. And it was it was always quite surreal. And he used to take us on these walks as well, and that was again quite a different experience. One thing I remember very clearly is when he came to Melbourne. This was the previous program, 2012. I was doing AV at the time, and there was some issue with the microphone that he was wearing, and I needed to ask him if we could change a cable or something like that. So I walked up to him to ask him about that, and I had to go like really close to him to see if we could do that. And I remember seeing that he was breathing in such a slow and deep way that it's still in my memory, just sort of remembering just seeing him, the way he was breathing. And I was in a very panicked state at that time because this cable was not working or whatever. But just being close to him for those few seconds and seeing him in that extremely relaxed state, it kind of settled me as well. So that's one experience I remember. And other than that, yes, I also had the opportunity to speak to him very briefly in LA. I was volunteering for this engineering program there. That was the last in-person in engineering that Sadhguru was conducting himself. And after the program, I had a chance to kind of very briefly speak to him. I needed some guidance, and that was a very special moment as well. It's like, when you are in front of him, he just knows you and knows all about you, and it's hard to explain, but he just tells you exactly what you need to hear. And it happens very casually, but at the same time it's very profound. So it's quite unique being with him.
Any other profound experience you want to share
in
your journey?
So one of my personal experiences from this year, going through the last few months where I was, just making this transition from being an entrepreneur to being a full-time volunteer with Isha. Yeah, it felt good to sort of come back to this anonymity of being a volunteer, which is something I've always enjoyed right from the start. Because, with having a brand and being an independent entrepreneur, there's always that personality that sort of comes into everything you do, which I can sort of avoid or keep at a distance as much as possible now with this role. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah. And I think, see, what you were also talking about people struggling with, the materialistic aspect of life and transitioning to a more spiritual life. Somehow, for me, I think this particular experience has helped me to really see that, we are quite insignificant in the big picture. And it's easy to kind of think about it and talk about it, conceptualize it, but when you actually see it, that you don't really matter as a personality in this existence. And the sooner you kind of stop investing in that and start really focusing on what's eternal, what's important, the better for you.
This is so true, Anna. Actually, it just made me ponder when you said, you really don't matter. It's true. When I first came to this reality that actually none of us matter. Maybe yes, we do matter to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 people to the max. Because really, if I was to die today, maybe 5 people would be affected, or 6 to the max. Yes, other people will, they'll probably miss the person I was, but it will not impact or affect them in any way.
Yeah.
Even the 5 or 6 people that I'm saying, their life will continue to go. Yes, they might be some pain here and there, but it's that their life will continue. When I first came to, face to face with this reality, that's when my world just toppled over, and I think that's when the need arised in me to merge with the existence. Like, really, what am I? If none of this is mine, I am just at the mercy of some, I don't know, this existence. At the same time, having my own personal experience. Wow, wonderful. So just enjoy it, and just be the part of the universe and not be always universe against me.
And the more frequently you kind of connect with that, I think you also bring the best version of yourself to these people that you're impacting on a daily basis. So I think that's extremely important.
As a Shanga, anything you want to tell the audience? Okay, let me simplify it a bit for you. To people who are already following Isha or Sadhguru, like myself, or people who are totally, who are non-Sadhguru followers, but they've obviously heard of Sadhguru here and there, watched their videos. So what one advice to each one of them? To me first, and then to the people.
Yeah, I'd say volunteering is something that really opens you up in a big way and helps you to become a part of Sadhguru's vision, because there are many enlightened beings who wish to share what they have with the world, but he's one of the rare few that has created the infrastructure to be able to achieve that. And with the miracle of mind and other things that are coming up, I think we really have the possibility to impact like all of humanity, almost billions of people. And this needs a lot of work to be done in a coordinated way. So whatever volunteering you can do, most of the time these days it's online, but even that little bit of time you can spend online to support any activity, it goes a long way, because there are many people in Isha who want to reach wider audience, and are ready to give guidance to others who can spend a little bit of time in supporting in that direction. So yeah, it's wonderful to be a part of that effort. And whatever you do, however small or big, you always feel very wonderful after being a part of that volunteering experience. So it's not, and that is one part of it, that it helps you to grow, but it also changes the world. And that's essentially what we all need right now, with all the stuff that's going on, wars and um, things, sickness, and so many things. We deserve a better world, a better humanity, and we have the tools and the channels to access billions of people now. The technology is there, so let's use it more consciously and make it happen. Mm.
And that's it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Anna. It was wonderful talking to you yet again. I am so happy that you could make it. Thank you so much for your precious time, and thank you so much for your precious knowledge.
It's my
Namaskaram.
pleasure. Thank you. Namaskar.